Welcome to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sports. This is the number one place for all your fantasy content. We do the research, so you don't have to. But wait, so you don't play fantasy? We have you covered with all your F1, IPL, and UCL content. So head on over to the Fantasy Pavilion YouTube page, like, subscribe, stay connected with us. We have all the content you're looking for. Fix that team though. Do better. The last year you were doing shaky. But this year we're doing better. We're doing better this year.
Yes, guys, welcome back to the Fantasy Pavilion, your home for fantasy sports, where we do it all: FPL, IPL, CPL, F1, UCL, anything with a fantasy, we are there. And of course, I'm joined by Ishmael tonight. Ishmael, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening.
All right, bro. Of course, F1 week, happy F1 week is the Japan Grand Prix. But before we go forward, Ishmael, let's take a look back, a pleasant look back quickly at the Australian GP results, which would have happened a few weeks ago. And I don't know, Ishmael, I think your goat mouth has spread on me. I was trying to find the clip where I said it, oh, barring anything unforeseen happening to Verstappen, he should win. And well, something unforeseen, thankfully, nothing dangerous happened to him, happened to his vehicle, I should say. And he was unable to finish. And we have a new winner for the season. Well, not for the season, sorry, but Carlos Sainz coming in clutch with a big win. Um, Finally, someone else other than Verstappen winning, and of course, follows was a 1-2 for Ferrari, Carlos Sainz and Charles Leclerc, and then of course coming in third on the podium, Lando Norris.
I,
Ishmael, these
I'm
are
trying
all.
to trying to remember what was my top three, because I think it might have been Max, Sainz, Norris.
I think it might have been very like just barren. My innocent Max, obviously, I think it was this. I think because I was looking back at it, like so somebody was close
We
between
were
us. We
cooking.
were
We were
very
cooking.
we were
Yeah,
cooked.
yeah.
And not just that, the fantasy assets that we were recommending all did well. All did well. Or if not the constructors. Right, so if you didn't go for the driver, you went for the constructor. Because look at big up Yuki Sonoda, who's on our thumbnail at the moment, right? Big up K Mag, Hulkenberg, right? Double double on the Haas, right? On Haas. Let's see that one more time. Haas was at the points twice, right? Which is crazy.
I
Okay.
honestly think like I didn't register that properly, and I'm not going to register that properly until like later in the season, because you have 5 big teams outside of and has managed to sneak 2 in.
And not just that, pick up my boy Lance Stroll. Pick up Lance Stroll, right? I have my fantasy team ready to gloat. I mean, sorry, present to you guys to show pick up Stroll. Boy. Stroll came in clutch, real clutch, right? No pun intended. Pick up Mikey, where we now bigging up the best driver ever, boy, Lance Stroll, boy, from pick up Lance Stroll. Mike, you was just
Don't
talking
do
about
that.
we was just no, I have to defend him. Too much people on his back. He doing his thing though. You can't say no. Doing his thing.
He
Right?
trying.
What? Hey, sixth place? The man doing his thing was he doing
I
his thing.
mean, sixth place for somebody who has been in F1 for the past 3+ years is a bit shaky, yeah? Because put Yuki Tsunoda, for example, in his car, and you should expect a lot better.
All right,
And
I'll
Yuki's
allow it.
there a lot less than him.
Well,
I'm
let's see what
So no hate on Stroll, but at the same time, he should be doing better.
no
And
hate
solid
on
that's
hit.
no hate on Stroll, but 2 places above his 2-time world champion driving teammates.
I
Mm,
Australia,
mean,
mm.
Watch people in
Mm.
front of him. Has
Okay,
has money
fine. So he
better, right?
performed. He performed that well in one race. When it is he performs consistently like that, then he'll get some ratings from me.
Right. We will check it back in three
We'll
races.
check
We'll
you
check it
back
back
in.
in three
Yeah,
races.
yeah, we'll check you back.
No
We'll check you
problem.
back.
3 races is good.
Miami, we'll check you back. Right? But of course, nothing for our boy Max. Right. Again, we apologize for the goat mouth that we put on him. We. Of course, shout out Piastri. So it was a 3-4 for McLaren. Sergio Perez in fifth. As you said, Lance Stroll 6, Yuki Tsunoda 7. Pick up Yuki. Alonso 8, Hulkenberg again, Haas with 2. Wow, Haas, 2 of the
That's
Haas
making it
drivers.
team.
Big up Haas, right? We spoke about them the last time on the show and putting them in your team. So I'm really glad that the underdogs or the so-called mid-tier, low-tier drivers doing their thing. Of course, there's a whole different beast coming up, Japan, but we'll talk about that in a bit. Max bounces back automatically from this, guys, or yeah, it's just obviously not his fault, just a mechanical issue. He should bounce back and be gearing and ready for Japan, or you think no, if Max, let's be real, if Max was in that race, Max was winning, right? Let's be real,
Agreed. We can all
right?
agree to that.
So
Um.
because no,
So so that's what we seen, and I would continue to say that until otherwise. But a lot of the drivers, F1 teams, and personnel around the paddock are saying that it's a lot closer than we think. Max will obviously be Max and not make a single mistake and win, but it's not as bad as last season where Red Bull is miles and miles ahead. They probably not even at a point where they could outright see they're ahead, but it's just Max being Max, bringing in these things for them, right? And I would say they're probably still a little bit ahead. Australia wasn't their best suited racetrack for their car, so they weren't even sure if they were going to win. But Max being Max, I would say they will win every race.
barring anything unforeseen.
Well, I didn't say it.
I have to say it. Barring anything unforeseen, right? Hopefully nothing unforeseen.
Say it more often.
But I was crazy, Jared. That I wasn't looking for that. Because I saw the race maybe like on the 10th lap. That happened what, lap 4? So I was like,
Yeah.
wait, oh shucks, where Max? Yeah, that
It
was
was
crazy.
something similar for me. I can't remember what was them, but I wasn't around because that Saturday Vibrel trim off. And when I did watch and I saw, wait, no, why is Max at the bottom? Wait, why is Lewis at the bottom? So then I had to rewind and see, and I was like, okay, cool. I think it gives a little bit of hope for what the season could be. I would still say Red Bull has a dominant package, especially as they introduce upgrades, which a lot of teams are bringing this weekend. So it is still Red Bull's championship to win, but I do agree that a lot of teams are a bit closer than they were maybe a bit last year. Sadly, maybe Mercedes is where they were last year, or even took a step backwards. But definitely Ferrari has stepped up their game, being able to take a 1-2 this weekend gone. Well, last race weekend, I should say. And McLaren definitely have some pace because I think the fact that Sergio Perez was still in the race and only came 5th, it shows that as much as the Red Bull is the dominant car, one, he still doesn't have a grip on that car like Max does, as well as that the other cars are just quick enough to keep him at bay, so to speak. Because I'm not sure what the gap was to the end, but the fact that they could hold off Sergio Perez without any real pressure is a good thing. So
I wanted to speak on this last week, but it didn't get brought up. So I was like, I'll just hold it till it got brought up, right? So I think it was Alex or Pierre, one of them was speaking about their time at Red Bull. right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were speaking about having Max as a teammate, right? And they were saying that yes, it seems that Max is so much more one with the car,
Oh, I saw
but
that
at the
interview. It was Alex Albon.
beginning, yeah, I believe it's Alex. At
Yeah,
the
it was Alex.
beginning
It
of
was
the season, right? Both drivers are getting introduced to a new car for the first time. It's not really um, catered to a specific driver or driving style, right? What happens is from the start of the season, then they would start to introduce upgrades and stuff with driver feedback, right? Because remember, they don't have the drivers driving the car before the season starts or before testing, so they wouldn't be able to do any feedback and upgrades and stuff with respect to the driver. So they kind of, let's say, on even playing grounds towards the start of the season. And then what Max likes is Kada is very twitchy, it's very sensitive, right? So I think Alex said, imagine you're playing a video game and you increase the DPI like to like 100,000 or something. So like the slightest touch on your mouse, it just flying across the screen. That's the
Mm-hmm.
kind of Kada he likes. He likes something with instant feedback, like quick,
Yeah.
very little motion, right? So towards the end of the season, the car would be developed more towards him because he's the number one driver. And all the feedback he gives, they will obviously try to incorporate it. Not that they won't incorporate the other driver as well, but he would obviously take priority. So at this point, comes back to what I was saying just now before, maybe the Red Bull isn't as much ahead as we think it is. Maybe it's just Max driving very well compared to Sergio. Because I think Sergio has a very good grip on this car right now. And he's given it his all. And if you hear the post race interviews from Sergio, it sounds like he's fine with the car in terms of the same level with Max. They basically say they are around the same things. Just Max gets more performance out of the car. Max being a very good, talented driver. No knock on Sergio, but just as it is. So, as I said again last week, I think Sergio will make points towards the beginning until he's go like a streak of 2 games or something. If it is, I wanted to have him in my team, I'll have him in my team. I have no qualms about that. And I was saying here last week, maybe it's better to have Sergio than Max at certain points. And well, we'll leave it at that. So just wanted to mention that because it was a very interesting interview with Alex. You got an insight into was like driving with Max as a teammate.
Hmm. Well, it's not
I mean,
with, but yeah. Definitely not
driving
with.
against
It have no width in that team right now. No width.
facts. I
No
mean,
width.
I watched the interview as well, and as much as I agree with Alex, I think Red Bull has changed a lot since he left. Because when Alex was at the team, it was pre-championships. It was pre the Max Verstappen era of being a world champion. So as much as that is his insight into the team, then I honestly don't believe it still applies now
Mm.
In what
because
aspect though?
in terms of taking feedback. So I believe that the car is built around Max from the start, and why I say that is because as much as drivers are not able to drive the car physically before the season starts, I believe they have access to the car in the simulator. So
Mhm.
he can get some kind of feedback as to how the car performs, what he likes, what he doesn't like. And if it is Red Bull has this history with Max for the past 5+ years, they know exactly what he likes. Granted, different upgrades will affect the car differently that they may not be able to replicate in the simulator and then be able to dial in specifically to his needs. But I think at the start of the season, the car is built favoring Max already.
No,
I've been
it's
listening.
favoring what Alex was saying is it does favor the number one driver. It's just that
It will be a lot. It will
the
be a lot
start of the
closer.
season compared to the end of the season is a lot more
And
drastic.
agreed. But also to have been listening to a lot the politics within Red Bull right now, and based on because one of the I believe the founder of Red Bull passed away sometime last year.
Yeah.
And since then, there's a new owner or a new person took over, and that person has more links to Max and his father, and they have a lot of political pull. So I believe there's three sets of owners of the Red Bull brand internationally, and essentially one of the families are strongly on the Max Verstappen camp. The other is a bit straight towards Christian Horner, and the third one is up for grabs, but they're swaying towards the Max Verstappen camp. So essentially, with that political pull within Red Bull, they have a lot of say, and you see it when it comes to how it is. Jos Verstappen is in a team. At every race, he's there, up and front and center, talking directly to Christian, talking directly to Helmut, etc. Because he has that influence. Maybe because one, he was a former F1 driver, but at the same time, the era of Formula One driving he came from does not apply to this era of Formula One, in my opinion. But I think definitely that political play that they have works to their advantages in terms of getting what they want. And that is why, regardless of who you bring in as a partner, the team will constantly back Max until something drastic happens. Like I think it was some race last year.
Like Max Winter Mercedes.
I mean, that's unlikely, but again, it's up. I mean, anything is possible, but it's unlikely. But I think too this yes, I mean there is rumors that Max might leave Red Bull, but I don't see that happening before the 2026 season, unless something drastically wrong happens with the car this year or next year. But there is tensions rising between the Verstappen camp and the Christian Horner camp, based on that whole political thing that not political, the allegations brought up against Christian that has divided Red Bull a lot, and that could really hurt them going forward. But for now, Max is still very much a Red Bull guy. What Max needs to do though is, because he's been playing F1 on easy mode, he's getting a bit too cocky. Because I was reading an article before one of the races last year. The race is supposed to start in the morning, and Max is online on his simulator racing people.
Well, it's not simulator, because simulator means like he's doing his job. He's
fine, not simulator. He was playing games.
On his rig playing games.
Yes, he was on his rig playing games 3:00 in the morning before he had the race. And it's like, this man just not serious, because I mean, these guys make sure they get their full hours sleep and they do everything they need to do. And this man just like, okay, gonna jump in, he can't win anyways. Like,
no, well, I mean, you can't really say that to the extent that, some drivers say they try to sleep and they can't sleep at all and all these different things, right? So whatever works for him, works for him. But I get the point where you're coming and saying that, maybe it wasn't as competitive as he needed to focus entirely. And for him, that's probably relaxing. As much as we think, driving.
No, I agreed. He said, and he said it. He said that the simulator is fun for him. That's his de-stress. He loves driving, whether it's a Formula One car or something else. And he does have desires to branch out into other specs of racing, because I mean, the Triple Crown and the Holy Grail is to be a Formula One champion, a Le Mans champion, and then Formula One Le Mans, and I think Daytona or some other Le Mans and something else. To have that Triple Crown is a feat, and I think the only person who has done it is Alonso so far. Well, not only person, but he's one of the persons to have done it. Let me check that quick, but yeah.
Yeah. No, as I have up here, something as much as Red Bull or Max, let's say Max, sorry, could run away with the series, run away with the championship. Of course, it's early days. We only now entering round 4. Construction, the construction standings looking very interesting, right? Ferrari only 4 points behind Red Bull. Now, if Ferrari could keep up this great momentum that they won right now, this great run, and finish on the podium, so isolate Perez and be up there, keep Max company, for a while. They could and maybe get a few, maybe get one or two, a few more wins, a few more Grand Prix wins. The construction standards might not be as much of a landslide as the actual drivers' championship might
You're
be.
saying that, but the drivers is not also 4 points apart.
Well, I mean, I'm saying that because at least the two guys, Perez has a say in what could happen here with the construction. He has to
So
trust
what I would
yourself.
say is compare this to the, I think it was 2020 season where Lewis didn't get his eight. That was the season 2020, right? Where I think it comes down to the reliability of the Red Bull car. That's the only reason this looks so close, and that's the only reason it will be close is if the Red Bull car is not reliable. I think the car should be reliable. I think this was probably just a one-off, but you never know. So until we see, maybe more DNFs or more policing out of the points and stuff like that, I don't really expect Max alone will win the championship by himself.
Fair enough. Just try something.
Man, trying to
Wait.
sell the opium.
It might be interesting. It'll be interesting. Right.
So to
So,
correct myself quickly, in order to be considered a triple crown winner, you have to win the Indianapolis 500, 24 hours of Le Mans, and either the Monaco Grand Prix or to be the F1 world champion to consider yourself to be a triple crown winner.
So
Currently,
basically, is there's a chance for Daniel. Let's go.
wow.
I mean, no.
Jimmy Stroll.
I mean, he won Monaco, sure. He had to go and do the other two. But the person who's closest to doing it actually is Fernando, having won
Le Mans.
24 hours of Le Mans, Monaco, and being an F1 world champion. So technically, all he has to do now is win Indianapolis.
Perhaps. All right. Well, speaking of, as you can see here, so this is one of the teams here from the last race, the fantasy team. Just want to look back so we'll know how to progress forward. So of course, as you see here, I would have put the double on Lando, which was great, right? This team rack up at 135, which is not plenty, but still good considering.
Decent amount.
Yeah, right. Alonso, pick up 9. K-Mag, right? Who? Pick up K-Mag, Lance Stroll. I'll say it one more time. Lance Stroll, 60 points. Pick up Stroll. And my constructors, right? What's that?
Giovanni, you get a good.
No, I'm coming to that because remember we wasn't happy with Soup, with Keke. We wanted to dump them out. Remember,
we still want to. We still want to.
But good thing, we was because I had the constructor and we dumped them. But pick up Haas and Red Bull combining on 52 points.
No, it's a good thing we dumped them.
That's crazy. I can't maths, Michael. How that make sense? How Haas is one of my best, because look at that. Haas this team with a Haas constructor outscored the other two teams. Let's take a look. All right, so this is T1. Of course, I have Lewis. Yep, Lewis.
That Lewis, dude.
Terrible.
I had him and I just get him minus 19, but that to the
double pin, right? That's 1 pin, right? Now that's not Matson, but
I had my double on Charles, so I got away.
7 and 9 and 8 is 17. 7
is potential
117.
And double the max.
But Nico Hulkenberg saving the day, Charles saving the day, Danny Rick and Albon. So not bad. And my constructors again. So some great constructors. So for those watching, could probably take some notes on, unless you have these guys already, no problem.
At the end of the day, you get points for finishing the race.
Exactly that. Full stop.
So you can be the fastest, Biz, if you finish the race.
Thank you very much.
Because look at Maxi Boy.
Right, so this is the YouTube team.
Everybody probably take a 20-point hit.
Right, so this is the YouTube team. Right, our community team now we work on together. Max minus 20. Pick up Nico again. Yuki. Pick up the Yukis, right? Albon, Charles. And then, of course, Mercedes minus Haas. Imagine that. Imagine in our world, the world we live in right now, guys. You have Mercedes as a constructor.
Yeah, I mean, Ferrari can be
Haas as a
constructor.
That's crazy.
And that's why Lewis is leaving.
Lol, crazy. Crazy. Bessie go
I
Haas. I know
saw
just
I
speaking.
saw a picture on Twitter this week. He walked past the Ferrari paddock
Mm.
in a full red kit.
The
And
mind
it's
games
like
have
this
started.
man just cannot wait to leave.
The mind games have started.
Two things I just want to mention there one time, right? Him moving forward for the rest of the season. I believe it was Tutu who mentioned it. But he most likely is going to be doing testing and taking risks and trying stuff moving forward for the rest of the season. Well, for the whole season, right? To help develop the car. Similar to
Mhm.
what he did last year, I would say. 'Cause I think that was the case last year, right? But it's probably going to be more permanent and more risky this year because his driver standings this year means nothing to Merc as much as developing the car.
Correct.
So it's something to think about when putting him on the fantasy team because maybe he trying a weird setup, maybe he trying some new parts, some upgrades, things like that, right?
So as much as they will have him on the experimental tread, I think he too as a driver will also not accept that for too long. Like he will do it, but he's still gonna push like hell because at the end of the day, every driver has that desire to win.
No,
He
I'm
ex-
not saying that it's gonna ruin all his results, but
yeah,
he just had to be careful about it, be a little cautious. I mean, him as a driver is probably second best to Max right now, only because Max is one with the car, and the car for Merc is in the
yeah. But Max, honestly, put Max and Lewis in the same car. And Lewis will run the rings around Max. And I'm
we
not
hope to
saying that
see.
just because I'm a fanboy. Fine, he may not run the rings around him, but he will definitely beat him.
He'll come. Go ahead. Yeah. Or
It'll be cool.
let's say compete. He'll compete. He'll
It'll be
compete.
cool.
Let's
It'll
say
be cool.
compete.
He will beat
Yeah.
him.
Yeah,
Let's-
but also just to mention, as you mentioned, Lewis and his red kit walking past Ferrari. I think somebody was pointing out. I can't remember where I saw it, but they were pointing out that he was in a team when he joined F1, got some success. Team kind of declined a little bit. Yeah, before the regulations kicked in, he moved to a new team. People was kind of questioning it. Got some success in the new team. Started to decline. Yeah, before the new regulations move across. So,
Yeah, that's
the A
a trend.
title confirmed in 2026. Let's go.
I agree, and then too, and that's what and he made those decisions on his own. Because right before he switched to leave to go to Mercedes, he had already dropped his father as his manager. So all his decisions to leave teams came with him on his own. And I believe he has the wisdom and knowledge. And you see Mercedes themselves put themselves in the situation because they stopped listening to him. And that's why I think too, as much as they're gonna use him and experiment, he's going to give them feedback to develop the car. But the question is, are they going to listen to him? Because last season he told them, yo, putting his sitting position forward is not going to work. They did not listen. They had a crappy car. So as much as they want to experiment with him, are they going to listen to him and take the advice? Because if it is you all just playing with him and have him doing dotishness, you're just gonna frustrate him more. And I mean, you'll never hear him say, "Well, I done for the season. I will just watch from the sidelines." But at the same time, you're just going to drive this man crazy.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think his move to Ferrari is the best decision, like the best
It
possible
is.
outcome. Because he
It
could
is the
go to
best
Red
decision
Bull, that's
on track.
obvious. Obviously,
And
he
then
could go to Red Bull.
look at the performance of Ferrari this last race weekend. They did a
Well,
1-2.
Ferrari is the best team besides Red Bull, so that's the best place he
Correct.
could go.
Is the perfect place to go. And then at the end of the day, every driver wants to race in red. So he's going to end his career at the most historic team. So you have the most
I wouldn't necessarily say
relevant
that was
driver.
a great driving factor behind it. I would say that's a good coincidence. Ferrari
Okay.
just happened to be the best team after Red Bull, was the main driving factor. If it was McLaren, he would have gone
Agreed.
there.
I mean, that is the
If it
main
was
driving
Austin,
factor.
he
But
would
at
have
the
gone
end of
there.
the day, all of that
It's
just made
nice
the
to have.
decision. That is so much easier.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. No, of course. Japan coming up this weekend. Now, my only problem with Japan, the Japan
Trying to
Grand
stay up.
Prix. No. I have no problem. That's not an issue for me. I will be up because I'll be working, so I have to be up, right? But the main issue with Japan is the weather,
I was
right?
just
Mm,
about
Mike,
to say that. Yeah.
Michael, if you remember, in 2022, we put on our pajamas, went to Island Bay,
yeah, correct.
was there on time, right? From midnight to it was supposed to
Yep.
start 1 o'clock, right?
We had to
Rain
wait 2 hours.
Eyes closing, but we up and watching up
up
and
and
watching the
right.
race.
I think that was our best crowd ever, right? You had
It
people
was. Everybody was
vibes.
hyped for that pajama
People
party
was
vibes.
hyped. Hyped. No race. No race. Rain.
Rain,
Rain.
rain,
Rain.
rain.
I think the race didn't start till what? 3, 4
2
o'clock
hours.
because it was like
2 hours
a
after.
3 hours delay. Yeah, a 3 hour delay. It
Correct.
was like,
And
right?
it was a short race, so you didn't even have a full race.
Didn't even have a full race. And of course, right now it's typhoon season. There's a
Correct.
particular region of Japan right now that is on that's on tsunami
Tsunami.
watch right now,
Right.
right? The and have the weather forecast right
It is
here.
forecasted to rain on New Year's
It
Day.
is forecasted to rain,
Not
right?
a very
So,
high forecast.
but
Granted.
I mean, but that
still
has changed so
forecasted.
fast because literally there was a year they went boat racing in the paddock. They literally made paper boats and sealed paper boats down the pit lane to see who would win. It was quite funny.
Let's just say I know Jared going to talk about Lance Stroll. That's all I have to say.
no. I not know. I'm just doing a weather forecast. That's it. I know, but thanks. So you see, in your head already, rent free.
Honestly,
wasn't even going to talk about
I
that.
personally do mind rain falling because it will make the race so much more interesting and it will give Lewis an advantage, to be honest.
Yeah, but we don't want
But
to see Lando Norris mess it up again because of the rain.
That's
He
small
needs to
thing.
get his-
yeah,
I need problem to fix.
yes, he had his day in the sun
Not my
in
fault.
Australia. Yeah, that's fine. Forget that.
Not my fault.
I-
And
yeah.
next time you go listen to the race engineer and say rain come and change your tires. So
And put on the right
No, but
side.
that's going to be
because
the
fully
issue.
understand
No.
that was his chance to get his because I saw a meme funny enough. They did
No,
the
but
reconstruction.
this is going to be the issue, Michael. The engineer going to say, come in to change your tires. And he going to be like, no, you should stay out. And then he going to come in because to come overcompensate for the last time when he really should stay out.
I mean, not necessarily. I like honestly, the engineers have the information, yeah, and that's the thing where trust comes in. And
Mhm.
but it also comes down to experience. So if Lewis, I think the last time Lewis made such a decision, or controversial enough, it was Turkey 2020, and it was the race in which Lewis won his 7th championship. And Bono and they had tell him come in to change for I think intermediates, whereas everybody else had gone to either hards or wet tires. I can't remember what it was. And Lewis was saying, yo, this tire was on the tire to go on. This tire was on the tire to go on. But he still won the race and he became 7-time world champion. I mean, granted, the tires were mediums at the end of it.
Yeah, I think everybody was on slick tires. And he went on to Inters. And
was on
it ended up
Inters.
becoming the slick medium tires after.
Correct. It was intermediums, and it was interesting, but it shows that sometimes the race engineers get it correct, sometimes they get it wrong. But at the end of the day, you as a driver have to trust the engineer, and if you do, then the engineer at the end of the day wants you to do your very best, so they're going to give you as much information as possible. I think what happens too is when it is you're a bit more experienced, they look for driver feedback as opposed to telling them what to do. So they may not always say, yo, come in for slick tires. They may say, yo, we seen a rain forecast. So that happens with Bono and Lewis. They would give him the information, okay, there's rain coming, expecting about 3 and so light. Do you want to come in for inters now, or do you want to wait and see how heavy the rain is? And you have that feedback, and then as you're able to decide. But for I guess a younger driver like Lando at the time, because I think it was his 2nd season in F1, they would have tried to make the decision for him so that he could have focused on driving. But had he listened, maybe he would have been one of the drivers with at least a race win and not a driver in Formula One for the past 3 years without a race win. So yeah.
Yeah. No, it's not. Right. No. With barring the weather, right? I was reading up on the track, of course, to familiarize myself with everything. Who, Michael, in your opinion, let's say weather is pristine, right? Maybe okay, a little drizzle Tuesday with nice weather, Friday, Saturday, nice weather. Who, based on history, based on skill and whatnot, who are the top, let's say, 5 drivers that could handle this particular track? Because we know it have some difficult turning points. It have that part where they will be a lot of them graze on that turn there. Till it have 11. They have just from start one, right? From point one is pressure already.
Yeah.
Who you know solid? Who you think, in your opinion, based on watching it and being a fan for so
So
long, solid
all
enough to handle this track?
so all of the older drivers, they would have experience with this track. So the guys who would have experience, like at the top of the list, would be Fernando. He has been
Mm.
racing at Suzuka all his life. There is that famous move he pulled on Michael Schumacher going the outside around turn 13 into 14, which is 130R, that infamous corner. So definitely I would say this is a track that Fernando loves. It's a track that Lewis is good at as well. Max simply because he's just that good. I think another driver who could do well at this track would be Sainz.
Okay.
And then the last person I would put up there, based on ability, is Charles as well. But I think if it is we're going on experience, who knows and understands the track, I'd also say Bottas. But Bottas doesn't have the car to challenge to be up there. But I think if rain falls and things go his way, maybe he could slip in the points based on his experience and knowledge of the track. But I think that's the top 5 there as it relates to ability and skill to the track. I would like to see how Sargent does at Suzuka, because I mean is one of those infamous tracks that a track that I know well simply because of Gran Turismo, because it's just such an iconic track. So I think everybody here, if they haven't raced on it physically, they have experience to some extent at Suzuka. So it will be interesting to see how people fare.
So I'm looking back at last 2023 results. Of course, Max up there, and there was a 1-2 for second. Lando Norris and Piastri.
I mean, at 2-3.
But sorry, 2-3. Sorry, thank you. And of course, look, Charles fourth. So some of the names you called there. So Charles in there, Lewis in there, Fernando 8th. All right. And of course, obviously, this is a whole different year. Things to change. So of course,
and then they have this. I think last year, Japan was a lot later than it was this season.
Yeah, they bring it up this year.
They brought it up this year, and remember what happened with these people last year with not Aston Martin. What is the name now?
Oh, RB, I mean the kick. So,
no, Fernando. Yeah, with Aston Martin. Sorry, with Aston Martin. Last year they didn't bring upgrades early in the season.
Right.
So that is why I think he's so low down. But I think because the car is I mean, fair enough.
Still fresh. Right.
Correct. Right. And because we're only the 3rd race of the season?
Fourth round, yeah.
Fourth round.
Yeah.
So he could definitely put the car in the top 5, given everything works.
And I fully agree with you. I think that will play. That's why I asked the question, because I think that will play into the hands, especially as I said, the experience, not just the experience, but especially some of the. Because the reason I asked, right, there are lots of there's some mid-tier guys that doing pretty well, doing solid and consistent, right? Because we are something about F1. I just saying, I call him a random name, right? Let's say Yuki Tsunoda. Yuki Tsunoda might, if we have all of the calendar year, I just saying Yuki might just come, maybe score points 3 times, right?
Mm-hmm.
I just say so, but this season we're seeing a different trend now where Yuki pop up one, he might pop up in the other, or let's say Albon pop up. Sometimes Albon might pop up in one, mightn't pop up in the other. But I think this season, some of these guys, because the cars, they're getting the upgrades, what it did to the cars, the new cars coming into this season were very refined. and they know, okay, fine, we can't challenge Max, but they're putting in a lot more fight and grit for that mid-table, that mid-tier.
Agreed. Yeah.
And it was just that this track, boy, this track just funny. In my opinion, is one of the funniest for me in terms of some of them handling and stuff. And I think we could
No,
get some
so
DNFs,
it's a great track in all honesty. It tests everything.
everything.
So that turn going into turn one, it's not too heavy into turn one, but it's kind of your break and make the turn of turn one and prep for two at the same time.
Same
So it's a
time, yep.
really interesting corner. You don't see a lot of people trying to make a pass into one there because of how tricky it is with the breaking and such. I mean, you have the wild man like Danny Rick that they just know their breaks so that they might try something like that. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, it's very quick. It's hardly any breaking and more so just lift and coast for a very short period of time. Get the car to go around the corner and then you're back on the power. 7 is more or less flat out. 8, heavy breaking into 8. Double break into 9. You pelt all the way up. 10 is flat out. Heavy breaking into 11. You make the turn.
The hairpin.
Right? And then 12 is flat out. And then you go 13, 14 is a nice thing because you see how it goes. The apex is kind of, you have one apex here for 13 and then it drops away for 14.
Right.
So it's a really nice break-in to go through there. Then they will go flat out DRS for the whole from 14 to 15.
Yeah.
And that is 52 and 15 is the infamous 130R. So you build a lot of speed all the way from 14 into 15. So honestly, at that speed trap, I would like to think we're gonna have guys coming through that speed trap at 3 something
Pelton.
for sure. Especially if it is we're in dry conditions, and so maybe during one of the either during qualifying or during one of the practice sessions, if somebody's on softs, they're going to go through that speed trap in excess of 300. Heavy breaking into 16, get the car to rotate through 17, and then 18 is just straight onto the power, onto the straight to get our DRS and start the lap again.
Yeah. No, this is a what? A 2-stopper? Normally? High deck?
Normally it's 2-stop. Based on the weather, it could change that. So if it's wet in the morning, definitely everybody will start on wets.
Right.
Then they might switch to inters. It depends. So this race, usually if it is we have full dry conditions, yes, 2-stopper. But I believe if the weather comes into play, it could make it really, really interesting, and we could possibly get 3-stopper or people playing some really interesting strategies. So ideally for me, I would love to see the race start in the dry, then go to wet, and then sort of dry up closer to the end and see exactly what happens as it relates to strategy. Because somebody might say, okay, cool, we start off dry, so everybody starts on softs. That's going to last you about 15 to 20 laps. And then somebody might come in, switch to dry tires, and then boom, rain come down. So if it is teams see the forecast, okay, cool, we're going to have some rain, somebody might say, well, let's start on the mediums, get at least 20, 25 laps. The rain will come around then. We'll be able to make our stop while everybody else has to stop, so we don't lose that much time to everybody else. We get some inters or some full wet tires, blast around the track in the wet, and then if the weather clears up, great. We come back in for some inters or some medium tires. If not, we just switch to another set of inters and we go from there. So I really do want the race to start in the dry and we go to wet because it will just make it so much more entertaining.
Yeah. Just want to thank everyone for watching. Please drop a like. Let us know what your thoughts are, who you're thinking of bringing in for your team. Now, I was just perusing some of the news. Alpine, right, made a upgrade for this weekend, hoping that it can. Don't laugh, don't lie, go the disrespect, guys. The disrespect, right? But Alpine made an upgrade. Now,
I mean, everybody making upgrades this weekend.
Right? Yeah, but no, I'm jumping on them because normally my boy Ocon will be in the conversations for all the races. He has not been great at all. The vehicle has not been great. Are you looking for something different? They were close to the points in Australia. Close. I mean, close doesn't count, but they were close. Um, you see any difference? Anything you're looking out for them? Oh, no. Better, bigger fish to fry. Forget Alpine for now.
So
I
I would
think,
say
yeah.
wait, hold and watch and see if anything happening. The upgrades, the hope here is that they no longer outright last,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
right? And I think so far we haven't seen that. I think most of the stuff that they wouldn't last for was other people having, like, let's say, Kick, for example, not being able to do a sub 3 pit stop, or like Danny Rick messing up something and have to pit again or something like that. So they just end up being like under these Alpine guys, but under true performance, I think Alpine was still kind of thereabouts. So if they could get out of that, show the kind of pace that William have, maybe RB, maybe Haas, just make it a little competitive, then we could bring them back into the conversation.
Yeah, sure. All right. So of course, tomorrow is Thursday. We have practice 1. Tomorrow, Friday, we have 2 and 3, and then of course qualifying, and then the big race. The race is scheduled for 1 a.m. Hopefully, but I think the weather will play a big part in it, and of course that could change the predictions that we're about to make now, and of course change. But there's only so much we could do. We have
The
up
hardest
until the
thing will be
5th.
the hardest thing will be up to watch qualifying, to be honest, Dred.
Yeah, at 2 a.m. Oof, that is pressure. Let me see. That is what? 6 for us. That's Saturday. Well, I'll be up. So might
No,
as well.
I
Well,
think those
Friday.
time, that's our time.
Yeah, so yeah. Pressure. Man. I'll be up.
That's
I'll
2
be up.
o'clock Friday. That's 2 o'clock
But
Saturday
into
morning.
into Saturday morning, yeah, the wee hours. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'll be up. I'll be up. I'm not sure. I'll be up. So, but I don't know if I'll be up watching, but I'll be up watching the race for sure. I'll be up watching the race.
yeah, the race I'll push for so, but I make
Yeah.
sure and make changes
Massive F1 TV
early.
plug here. Just take a good sleep and then come back and watch your race in the morning without looking at any socials.
Good luck with that. That's
That's
difficult to
that's
do,
what
right?
I do. That's what I do.
I
I
can't do
wake
that,
up,
you know.
first thing, eat breakfast, watch race, then look at socials after.
But I rather these times than the 9 a.m. European times.
No,
I rather
no,
these
bro,
times.
bro.
I
Yeah.
prefer
After
the European times. I remember
after
when it is
after this race
Ish
and the
and I
next
had
race,
Ish and I
I'm
had
happy.
gone
When we
Ish
end up in
went.
rituals.
Yes, he and I both went Island Bear to watch the race. Island Bear was doing renovations, and we both ended up at Rituals in Maraval. Just bought their $50 breakfast and sat and watched the races on our phone. I will always prefer a 9 a.m. race than this thing because I could just eat breakfast, relax, and enjoy the race.
But so you carry breakfast at 1 a.m.? What's the problem? A late night snack? You can have a late night snack, have some
No, I just
popcorn,
want to be
reheat
in my
that
bed.
reheat
I
that
just
pizza
want
slice,
to
have in
be
the
in my
freezer.
bed.
I don't understand the problem.
You want to do the team before predictions?
Yeah, we do the team first, and then we'll end up with that. So we just focus on the YouTube, on the YouTube team first. Right, we'll focus on that first. So just the middle team, right? So team 2. Any major thing? So Michael, it wasn't here, so I'll give you the seat first, right? I'll let you give your opinion, your dissection, what you want to do with this team heading into Japan. Of course, 2 transfers can be made, or if any, we haven't talked about chip strategy as yet. I guess we could always break that down another time. But
Mhm.
what you want to do with this team? Anybody you want to
I
get rid
think
of immediately?
it's honestly still too early to consider chips.
Mhm.
Honestly, I would try to swap out Haas. I think this is a
Michael,
race whereby
Just
Michael.
no, let him cook. Let him cook now. Let him cook now.
no,
Go
leave
ahead,
me.
Michael.
I know
Go
what I
ahead.
say
This is
Go
why
ahead,
I'm asking his opinion. So go ahead, Michael.
because
Go ahead.
Suzuka is a quick track, so it's
Mm-hmm.
going to favor the faster cars.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot, we cannot, we cannot take Australia as the platform for Haas to say Haas is good. We need to back Haas. Haas politically has a lot of issues still. Haas financially has a lot of issues still. So it's great that they performed well one weekend, but I do not see it being a trend until they consistently end up in the points. I will stay away from Haas as a constructor because it's going to come down to how many points they
Okay,
get.
okay. I hear you. I
So I
hear
will
you.
put in Haas drivers, but I wouldn't put Haas as a constructor
No,
Wow.
I
because
hear
there
you.
are other constructors that can pull points.
Mhm.
Who are the other
That
constructors? At that price point, who are the other constructors you're going to put?
at
There's
that, I
no
mean, if
one.
so, I would say
Put up on
okay.
trim. Put up on trim.
If this was my team, I was taking out Mercedes, I was taking out Haas, and I would have put probably RB and McLaren
But
as the
Haas is
two.
doing much better than RB.
Huh?
Haas is doing and will do much better than RB.
I don't think so. Not at this race because I mean this is Yuki home track, so he know the track like his the back of his hand.
Understood.
The um the team principal of RB now no the team principal of Haas is now a Japanese driver. I mean a Japanese person, so they're definitely gonna want to perform well at the home team. But I honestly believe RB will perform because so far RB has been consistent. Huh? Like the car itself is good enough. I mean, we're still waiting to see Danny Rick
You're
perform.
gonna have to keep waiting for that until you get thrown out. I've
You're
given
not
up. I've given up.
nice. You've given up hope on Danny Rick.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay, but okay. So to be serious now, my changes to this team, honestly, would be to change the Haas to a different constructor, and then after that, I would change Albon for either. Well, I mean, I'm not too sure how much money you'd have to play with when it is you do it. So, can we go in and see?
Yeah, sure.
Let's see, because you have what 1.8 in the bank. So take out
1.8 in
Haas
the van. So we're taking out us
and take out Albon.
and we're taking out Albon. Correct. So there's our two
Albon.
transfers here.
6.2. So go to constructors.
So we're going to constructors. Come down
16.2.
the road. You could filter.
Right.
Let's actually, I'll leave it so. Just now. That's all. Right, go ahead.
Scroll down. Right. So for constructor, I would put RB to be honest.
Okay.
And
No, I'm
then
not clicking anything yet. I just wanna be listening, right? So
No,
RB.
keep
RB.
waiting.
Yeah, you can put it in. It's only when it is you click continue, it would apply the change.
Well, I will know because I want to hear what Ish, might
No,
want to
put
change
it
up.
on, let me see. Put it on, let me
All
see.
right. Okay.
So
Okay. So
RB and then go back
7.4.
to drivers.
Mm-hmm.
So 7.4. And for that 7.4, I scroll down. I would say you put in no, we already have Yuki in the team.
Mm-hmm.
You already I would say put well, we had in Albon just now.
Yeah.
I'll say put back Albon. Well, I honestly don't see them getting points just yet. Because Williams themselves as a team is in a mess.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Because
that's the price we had to pay for having Max and Charles.
correct. That's the
Just
price you
without
have to pay
that.
for. Correct. That's the price you have to pay for having Charles and Max. If it is you had more changes, if it is you had more free
More wiggle room.
transport, I would have taken out Mercedes and put McLaren. To be honest, save some money
So let's
and you get a
add
better
back
driver.
Albon because we obviously can't do anything there.
Correct. You have to take Albon.
Let's take out Mercedes.
So why we couldn't add in Pierre Gasly?
Let's take
So,
out
come on.
Mercedes.
He's in
I
the
won't
wrong
even
car.
dignify. I would not even dignify that with a comment. Not even an acknowledgement.
All right, take out Mercedes.
Right? And we can.
You could go Aston actually.
No. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, 14, 6.4.
And you love of Aston?
That would be
I
fine.
do, but compared to the possibility of Mercedes, that's a rough one.
But you don't see Mercedes bouncing back for this one?
I do.
I see
But
them bouncing back, but I still
Their
think
bouncing
they
back
could
is
be
5 to
better.
7, not top 4.
Yeah, well, points is points. Yuki gonna come in on third, Charles second, Max first. I understand. What's the problem there? Nico will take a 8. What's the problem? Alex 10th. What going on there?
Michael,
George Lewis 5th, 6th.
what do you see? Mercedes doing better or Aston doing better this weekend? I think
Well, based on what
Mick
Michael
might
said, based on what
might
Michael
be
said,
leeway.
I think it'll be real tight, Red. But I don't know, boy. I
I
mean,
think Mick is leeway.
price point wise is a great move, right? Price point wise, but you
I think
can't.
you could put Aston, and then you have some money to play with a driver.
All right, let's put
Well, not
Aston and
much.
see
What
what we could play
six
with.
point? It's 5.5. Not much.
No, if you take out
No,
And
Albon,
then we
take
have
out
to go
Albon.
Albon. So what? 12.7.
12.7. And when you go drivers now, who do we have open to us?
Okay, well,
not
you have
much.
Nico already. Esteban Ocon, big up. We have Dan Rick.
Yeah, so it's
Logan.
not. It's better. You
Yeah,
Oh, they
already
have
have,
our beloved Lance Stroll.
no, I already have him on
Yeah.
another team. I want to like,
And then we
strike.
already have
Strike.
Austin here too, so
Yeah, we
we're
have
Correct. So
doubling
you
Austin here
now.
want
already.
him as well.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
so
as you said, that is the price you play. That is the price you pay for having Max and Charles.
and that's
Yeah.
fine, and that's fine,
And it's
and that's fine.
working. So I mean,
Yeah,
just didn't work
so
last race, but yeah.
I would keep Albon and leave Mercedes, and just maybe one change, and leave it at that.
So go back Mercedes.
Yeah,
And put back Albon.
So no changes.
no,
No,
we
remember we
take out
change
the
out
Haas,
us.
and
Oh, right.
that's
Big up us.
entirely up to Michael. So when they get double points again, nobody
Mm,
come and at me, please.
mm,
Nah,
exactly. No. It's a team.
nah.
This is a team effort. If the man say no has, we'll
I
we
mean,
will
at the end of the day, or they could go or they could go two to one, and keep
No,
all their
no, I
Haas.
back
But
in
I
you.
don't think
no,
Haas
it's
Wherever
is
you
back in
want,
there. We're
bro,
back
I
in there.
back
You
in
going to
you.
missed the
replicate it this
past
weekend.
few episodes. We giving now. We allowing you. We allowing you. Right? This man. But if has come true, that's it. Ish. No more. He has no votes.
Watch
Your
and see.
voted rights gone.
Watch and see Yuki come third and Daniel come fifth.
Boy, we moving like barbecue.
Exactly.
We will never hear the end of it from Michael.
Now, well, my only problem is Albon, but you never know. You never know. You never know.
I
He
don't
could
really
be
have
The
an
only
issue with
the
Albon, to be honest.
danger with Yuki is Yuki is still a young driver and he has to develop and learn. He gets red mist. And for those who may not know what red mist is, it is essentially road rage on a racetrack. That's what we call red mist, whereby you are just so infuriated that you start driving erratically and doing wildness. And I think we saw that, was it last race? Whereby the team gave the
Australia,
order for him to let Ricardo
yeah.
through. And he was quite opposed to it. And then at the end of the race, he kind of gave Ricardo a bad drive, so to speak. So I
That's
think,
after posters. Yeah.
yeah, it was post race, but which is wild. Like, bro, why are you doing that post race? Just go back to the team and cuss them like you like to cuss. But
Yeah.
whatever. So I think that is his main downfall as a driver. He has to mature and learn that that is not the way you need to race, because when it is you get red mist, you start making mistakes.
Right.
Drivers who are angry, they don't think straight or they don't think as quickly as they need to. So they will start missing braking points. Like, yes, it can, it can fuel you, it can push you to be a bit better, but ultimately it just slows you down as a driver. And that is why so many gurus or older drivers, they will channel, they will keep that down. So look at Lewis, for example, or even, I mean, let's take Max, for example. When it is Max started as a 16-year-old, it was 16 or 18. I think he was 16 because he didn't have his actual driver's license. In Formula One, everybody called him a wild man, that he was just too aggressive and thing. But look at him now.
He
He
still
could
kind
get
of
angry.
is, but
He still kind of is, but
to
he
the point
learns,
where it's
he
within the
manages it.
regulations. Yeah.
Correct. He knows, okay, cool, I'm angry, I'm upset. The only way to truly prove myself is to race like a boss and do that correctly.
Yeah.
So I think definitely that is Yuki's,
So
that's what Yuki needs to learn.
hear me out on this, right, Michael? I understand what you're saying about Haas and RB, right? But right now we doubling on Yuki, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was wondering, let's leave Yuki in, put back Haas in, and take out Nico. And we get Nico points from the Haas just to
Right.
cover it. And then we see what driver we could bring in instead of Nico.
Yeah, that's cool too.
All right.
No, I just want to see this. I think we will just end up going with what we had before just now. with
Anyway, yeah. No.
Yeah.
But
I
I
just want
think
to see.
because K-Mag, as much as K-Mag is the more experienced driver, I think he passes prime, to be honest. No disrespect to him, of course, but
Sorted by
9 mil, they're looking,
You could do a filter.
man.
You could do the filter for the 9 mil.
Well, that's it right there. Because everybody, the only people we can get, we can't get anybody else. We could get Yuki, but you have Yuki already. That's it right there. Hold on.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, the best driver, quote unquote, best driver you could get at that price right now is Esteban. And I personally would not because Alpine just does not have a car.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what we just had to go back to what we had, but just wanted to see if there was any wiggle room there.
Right. Well, I'll just do this and we're back where we started. So we'll leave
No,
it
well,
like
we could do the change that Mikey wanted to bring in RB,
okay.
just because we know it's gonna either be spectacularly good or spectacularly bad. So
I mean,
what
so
was-
that point I was making about Yuki, it could work in our favor, it could not, because it
Yeah.
is his home Grand Prix, so he's going
Yes.
to be feeling a lot of pressure to deliver.
So what you're
Although-
saying is triple down on it and then put the double on Yuki, as well as have the RB and Yuki.
Nah.
I was wondering about that, who to put the 2 on. Or we leave it on Max, obviously, or no?
We could take up on Charles if you so
I
desire.
was gonna say you can put it on Charles to play
Wait,
with it.
Okay. Let's-
No, I'll leave it on Max, to be honest. He gonna bounce back. He gonna come first. Might as well just make Max points out on the Max.
Barring anything unforeseen. Yeah.
I didn't say.
That should be, we should make a jersey. Fantasy
Hey, bro.
anything
Barring anything
unforeseen.
just that. Let me make a
And they
note
could
of that.
use it for both Formula One and football.
And football. For facts. Barring anything unforeseen. Facts.
You all see
plenty
Varane
unforeseen
come out and
today.
talk about he had a concussion in the UCL game with City. That's why he made the mistakes.
Who?
Varane.
Says. Just I want to
That's
think about them
crazy.
right now. I want to think about them right
Crazy.
now. All right, I guess we could go straight now to just
Predictions?
our predictions and then round off the show there. So Ishmael, top 3. Talk to me.
Max Verstappen, Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris.
He had that quick boy, Michael way. Quick, you right?
No, Max obviously.
Say that
will be
one
first.
more time. Say that one more time.
Max is always going to be first, right?
Right. Okay.
At this point in the season,
Barring anything
Anything
unforeseen.
unforeseen. Right.
Carlos is my second pick for this season up to this point, moving forward.
I mean, honestly, I could agree with that because Carlos is driving for his life, to be
And
honest.
I've been saying this since the start of the season, right? There's not something new. I've seen that Carlos could be doing something good, right? Perez was the person to come second, and I will still stick with Perez.
I think
I'm
personally,
nothing
for me,
against him,
after last year,
but after
I-
the crashes with Haas and we'll give Carlos the edge. And then third, respectfully, should go to Charles, but I'm just gonna put Orlando.
quite honestly, I don't see Lando being a better driver than Charles.
Quite honestly, I don't see Lando being a better driver than Piastri in this race, but we'll get to that conversation another time.
Ooh.
Fighting was here, Michael.
Down.
Yeah, I don't feel about that either. Michael, predictions?
Predictions. I would say Max first,
Lance Stroll,
Max first, Charles third,
Perez
and
second.
second. Nah, Perez not coming top 3. So Max,
Mm.
Sainz, and
Mm.
Charles.
I
Mm.
love it. I love it.
Mm.
He took the safe route. He took the safe route.
I'm going very controversial.
As usual.
Perez first,
I was
right?
actually going to say that.
Perez first.
Perez,
Have a
Stroll,
vibe. Have a vibe.
Perez, Stroll, Yuki. That's your vibe. That's
Max,
correct.
Nah.
DNF.
No, 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 no. Max third. So Perez,
Never.
I know it's crazy, but Perez first, Max third, and Sainz second. That's
So
me.
where's Yuki?
Yuki would take a see. I want Stroll come
Sixth.
fifth in purpose, so I'll get. Okay, Yuki come six. Yuki could take a six.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I can
Yeah,
see that.
Yuki could take a six. He home. He's home. He will
He's home.
qualify really well though. I can see him qualifying very well.
I
in
can
Q2.
see him call. And again,
Yeah.
what is going to play the deciding factor in this weekend is the weather.
Correct. That is
Weather,
the.
because
Mhm.
that is what is going to separate the men from the boys.
Correct.
Because men who could drive in the rain, like Fernando, Lewis, Max to some extent, George to some extent. I
You
was
know
going
what
to say Lando, but
also
we know Lando can't drive in the rain.
you know what
Uh,
also affects it as well is with the weather, you have different setups.
correct.
So getting those setups and in the weather conditions right makes a
Correct.
big
Because if it is you had a dry practice weekend and then rain come and fall this Sunday, you're in a mess because you don't know how to set up the car. I think
Right.
too, something to consider with Japan as well that sometimes is a fact. I believe it's the last corner. It has a crosswind there. Because there was some year there was a big crash right at the end of the street. Or at the start of the street, sorry. Or somebody lost it starting the street. So I think definitely the crosswind or the wind is going to play a factor too based on the weather.
All right, I know we're having fun, so I just want to have a 2 minute quick discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Eric,
Mm-hmm.
washed or still have some future?
Mm. I think it's just the car. It's just the car. He's a great driver. Because I mean I look at different people, two different guys, right? Of course I can't compare them, but look at
He
Fernando Alonso.
he's a
Look at
great
what
driver. It's just the car, McLaren. He's a great driver. Just the car, Riddle. He's a great driver. Just the car, RB.
well, you see, you have to look at what's happening around him as well too. It's just like football, where in Premier League it was just Arsenal, Man U, that's it. And then when other great managers entered the fray, it changed up the whole dynamic of it. So it's same thing now. Look at this season again. See, I was saying before, you will see Yuki get some points this week. Next week, no points. Next week, you might see Albon way up, then Albon come 15th, all kind of craziness. So I think, especially this season, is very difficult now because a lot of the other constructors and drivers around that you look at. Okay, great example. Yes, the vehicle is trash, right? But Esteban Ocon was way more reliable than he is now. Especially it's if you follow it. I love Ocon, right? So you following Ocon for a while. I'm not accustomed to Ocon not making top 10 like this and struggling all the way through. And he has not changed cars, constructors, same constructors he's with. Of course, the vehicle has changed in terms of maybe the mechanics and whatnot, but things have not changed drastically. Same vehicle, same home he's with. But Ricard, I think again, there's so much changing around. Look at Haas. Haas competitive now all of a sudden, right? All of a sudden, Haas is
So,
competitive. So I
so
think
the
those are
reason,
mitigating factors, Michael. No, but that's competitive, Michael. That's
the reason,
competitive. Boss. Let me be real. That's
the
competitive.
reason I asked the question, right, is because there was a rumor a while back. You have 3 races, show something, get out. Now they came out and said that rumor is not true, whatever the
Right.
case is, right?
Of course, it's true. Right.
But
But
again, we dealing with Red Bull and the Red Bull
right, so the back room
group of family, that's
discussions,
their motto.
the
Perform or
backroom
get out.
discussions are he has till summer. So realistically speaking, do we think that he will show such improvement between now and the summer that they would say, okay, we wanted you here for your experience and what you could do, we see that you are performing somewhat okay. Maybe we can make some improvements, upgrades, but we're happy with you? Or do we say, well, he can't show that, whether it be mitigating circumstances, whether it be the car, whatever the case is, and then we have to say goodbye to Dan Eric one last time.
I know. I
To,
know.
to think about it as well, we have Liam Lawson, we have Behrman, we have these other drivers who came in and showed that they could also get points.
Mm-hmm.
I think Behrman is out of the question as it relates to replacing
No,
Danny
no,
Rick.
not directly to replace him, but there are a lot of youth prospects
Yeah,
that
there's a
coming
lot.
in.
That's it. And I mean,
So
it's
do we give
always
that a
been
receipt or do we move on?
there has always been young talent, and that's the biggest argument that there's so many drivers in F1 or that at that level that when it is a guy wins in F2 or they perform really well in F2 and there's no seats in F1, what do they do?
Mm-hmm.
So I think if the FIA gets involved now and say, okay, cool, drivers who are unable to score 15 or 20 F1 points are eligible to lose their seat or something like that. It's going to
It'll be a
continue.
really,
You have all
really
this
cool
young
rule.
talent.
The,
Huh?
the a really cool, interesting rule might be the last two any driver standings
Mm-hmm.
get demoted to F2. The top two in F2 get promoted to F1.
You want war? No,
I mean that would be cool, but that creates a lot of issues because you remember drivers have teams. So Ollie Behrman could win F2, but then the only place he could go is somewhere Ferrari affiliated.
and then who replace him exactly?
I mean Haas is Ferrari affiliated, yes, but to put Ollie Behrman in a Haas is disrespectful. Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
but
would be
to
much
have
better
him not
for.
driving is much more disrespectful, no?
I mean, agreed.
You will get
I
his
mean,
time.
yeah, but I think he's still young. I think he's 19 or something like that. So he still has some time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so all right, so back to the question. Distracting a little bit. Yes, no, Dan Eric.
I think Danny Rick, if he can't perform by summer,
No,
they
it's
will
not
drop
whether
him.
he can or not. It's whether you think he will or not.
I don't think he will, to be honest.
Yeah. I don't.
And
I
that
don't
hurts
see
my
it,
heart
right?
to say
Yeah.
because Danny Rick is Danny Rick, but at the same time, I think his decline his decline started when it is he went to Renault. And I think things started to get better at Renault. And he then decided to hop ship and go to McLaren, which was good because McLaren was up there and McLaren has gotten better, but he still did not perform to the extent that they expected him to and believed that he would have. So I honestly believe that he probably rushed the gun in wanting to leave um, Renault, which then became Alpine. Because remember when Danerick left Renault, they switched to Alpine and they brought back Fernando. And if it is he had stayed, I think probably he would have gotten a little bit. He would have developed a little bit more because Alpine were quite competitive that year, whereby that year Esteban won his race, um, and Fernando was able to put on that mega defense on Lewis to prevent um, Lewis from catching Esteban. So I think Danny Rick, that is where he made the wrong decision by leaving Renault when he did to rush to McLaren without assessing everything properly.
So I'll just say three quick things, and that's my contribution for tonight. So
Mm-hmm.
first, the teams he went at, he gave them the best results they got in years. Not something to overlook. Right?
I mean, what he did at McLaren, I think, was a second place, not so because he didn't win any races.
Wasn't it a McLaren one too?
I think,
Yeah,
okay, yes, there was a
yeah.
1-2. Yeah.
Yeah. So best
That was
best
his
result
first
in
year there. The second year, he didn't perform at all.
Yeah, definitely. Right. So but at least he gave the teams he went to their best result in however long.
In recent times, correct.
Right. Second thing is, I guess he has had not the luck of Lewis moving ships. So, in retrospect, we could always say this, but, maybe it could have turned out different. And then, well, the last thing I'd like to say, it's such a shame he didn't get back a seat on F1 since he got dropped by McLaren. I'll just live in the delusion that he's not
I
currently
mean,
injured.
and RB brought him back as a kind of pity taker because honestly,
Yeah,
he was
Nick De
taken
Vries
up
is
by
still driving. In my
Yuki.
head, Nick De Vries is still in that seat. That's anytime I see Danny Rick, that's Nick De Vries driving there.
Yeah. And I think something I just thought about when it is we had brought up Ocon. Ocon is also an option to go to Mercedes, when it is Lewis leaves.
I wouldn't do that if I was Tutu. Russell and Ocon doesn't mix well.
I mean, because they're young and
Yeah,
they're
they both
competitive.
want to
But
be
I
one.
believe Ocon would do well in a Mercedes.
Well, but you have to also think about team
Because
dynamics.
there's two things to remember. One, Ocon has ties to Mercedes, and Toto is Ocon's manager.
I like
So
that shout,
I would love that.
That's a big shout,
But also, Mercedes has Antonelli in their back pocket, and they also don't want to put him on the sidelines for too long. So what they could do is broker a deal with Alpine, put Antonelli in the Alpine seat, see how he performs, bring um Ocon to Mercedes, see what it's like, and then you go from there. But then again, where does science?
I don't think Tutu have that pull. Where does
Man,
sign go?
he's a 33 and a third shareholder in Mercedes, in the Formula One team.
No,
The
he has
man's a
he has
billionaire.
the pull in Mercedes, but I don't think he had the pull with Alpine to do that. Alpine will do his best for Alpine.
At the end of the day, money talks, Jared,
Thank
especially in
you.
Formula One.
Thank you.
It'll have to be money. But
They have the money.
They have the money. They have money. Their money have money. So just
But
empathy.
but at the end of the day, I
where
don't
does
want to see signs end up like Ricardo. There's
where does
nowhere to
where
go
does
and he
Carlos
takes a
Sainz
year off.
go? Where does
That's
Carlos
that's
Sainz go? The answer is Red Bull. Clip that now. We're gonna see it in an year. Carlos Sainz is going to be at Red Bull.
and replace Sergio Perez. But this is my thing. This is my thing with any driver who was in the Red Bull family that left the family and went back in. It does not work. And there
But he does
is
not.
so many examples of that.
He does not have a comparable seat because Ferrari's out,
Agreed.
McLaren is out, Mercedes is most likely out. The closest thing you get is Aston Martin. So either go back Red Bull or try to get luck with Mercedes.
I
Red
would.
Bull's the best
I personally, if I was Carlos Sainz, as much as Red Bull has the best car, I would avoid it simply because of the politics. Because at the end of the day, he right now at Ferrari does not have a clear. Okay, cool. We have a number one driver. We have a thing. They're more or less on the even playing field.
That's not true. Everybody knows Charles Leclerc is Ferrari number one driver. Leave
But
it at
but he shows them up, so he still has some pull. If he was to go to Red Bull, he
and
cannot
show up
pull
Max, he
a
will get
candle or
some
say
pull.
anything. And somebody else said something. If it is Carlos were to go to Red Bull, you remember Carlos and his father are like that. It's Carlos Sainz Senior and Carlos Sainz Junior. Then you have Jos Verstappen and Max Verstappen. Those fathers are going to clash. It has been already said that they don't like each other. So to have two guys like that in thing, that's just gonna be a headache for Christian Horner or whoever else is the team principal if they ever do something to Christian at Red Bull. And then to just based on how Red Bull treats drivers that left and come back in, I don't think it would be a healthy environment for him. I think yes, Mercedes are on the back foot now, but go there, they will get back to their winning ways. I have faith in that. Or go Aston Martin, their $1 billion factory came online, I think this year or will come online next year. So I think a lot of big things can come from Aston Martin in 2026 for sure. 2025, they might be able to improve a bit.
All right, so that's confirmed. Carlos Sainz to Aston Martin, Fernando Alonso to
As Fernando Alonso to what?
Mercedes.
Nah, forget that.
Lol. And on that note,
That's
note,
on the day.
right? On that note, right? It was awesome. Thank you everyone for watching. Thanks to Michael and Ismail. We hope you'll have a great Japan Grand Prix for all. I think which country will enjoy those time zones outside of Australia? Probably might be and people in around that area might be the only
Area
ones
there,
who do
yeah.
that time zone, right? Because but we hope everyone can get a chance to watch the race live. Don't be a fake fan like Ismail and watch it after, right? Only fake people watch it after.
It's live to me, bro. It's live to me. I have no idea what's coming next.
I'm spoiling it, right? You put in real spoilers in that chat.
That chat will
Yes.
be muted every time.
Let's.
It'll be muted and archived. So even if you ask me, don't make a difference.
Ooh, we'll find out.
You know what
But-
we'll do? You know what we'll do? We'll call him.
Bro, I'll put that on silent.
Oh, good. Well, thank everyone for watching. Thanks all 34 of you for live on Twitter. Appreciate it. Show some love on the link, guys. Come over to YouTube. Drop some likes on YouTube. Trying to keep the algorithm going. Thank you very much for staying with us for the hour and 21 minutes. We hope it was insightful. Hope you showed you some drivers that you didn't consider or constructors you didn't consider was the best to help you get ready for the team. Thanks, Honey, for joining us. Thanks very much. I want to thank everyone again for coming through. Appreciate it. Please share it with your friends. We're trying to keep up, trying to stay focused and bring you all the best content, of course, for F1 content, not just F1, but fantasy on a whole. We do it all. FPL, UCL, IPL, everything that's coming up. We have a lot of fantasy games coming up. Of course, we have FPL this weekend. We're trying to do a preview very soon for that. So thanks, Honey. Big up. Hope everyone has a great weekend and a great GP. Please don't forget to select your team. Don't forget to check your team. Save your team as well. Please do not lapse. It's very easy to forget to click that save button. And of course, click that subscribe button. Like, share. Thank you very much. Happy picking. And
Deadline.
And of course, barring any unforeseen circumstances, Max should win. Right? That's the new tagline, right? So take care, guys. See you on the next one. Take care. Appreciate it. Happy picking, guys.
Night, guys. Take care.